Hi and welcome guys to episode 1 of the Nomadic Parents. If you didn't listen up to our first episode, there was actually episode 0 where we're talking a lot about our expectations of having a child, of our background, who we are, how we met. So you should really go in and listen to that one before listening to that. But if you have listened to it, then welcome to this episode.
Hey guys, my name is Sylvia, this is Akira, and together with my husband Georg, we're launching a new parental podcast. We've been together for over a decade and a lot of the time we've been traveling. And in 2019, we started our first company, which also has involved a lot of remote working. As family, business partners, and traveling parents, there is a lot to life which needs balancing. In this podcast, we share month-by-month updates from our daughter's upbringing, from birth and further into her life on the road. Welcome to our new podcast, The Nomadic Parents. Welcome to episode 1, where we talk about the first month of us as parents and the first month of our baby's life. It's been so many changes. It's been crazy.
My name is George and this is my wife and Sylvia, and we have been together for a long time, and this is not our first podcast series, but it's a very important one to us. So welcome, guys.
Welcome. Super short. We've been together for 12 years, married for 5 years, had a baby this year for the first time. We work online from wherever in the world. That's why it's the Nomadic Parents. And yeah.
Let's jump into the very first topic of this episode 1, pre-birth preparations. What did it all go about? I mean, you were like all over the place, organizing, fixing. I was just looking at your belly growing.
In Norway, because we were originally from Norway, and there's a huge secondhand market in terms of baby stuff because Norwegians use a lot of money on the newest things. So, and we don't really care about if it's the latest brand. So we got a lot of the stuff we have.
And you were really determined that not only for the price, but also for the environment, you want everything that's possible secondhand.
And everything is possible to get secondhand. It's really crazy. And for example, a lot of you will probably say, I can't get diapers secondhand. Yes, you can, because we got cloth diapers. And I found a woman, for example, on online who just tried them and hated them and then sold them.
Let's go into a bit of the basics. There is obviously a million things you can get, but I can promise you from first sight that there isn't actually so many essentials you need. There is a couple of essentials that are have-tos, and then there is a couple of essentials that make life quite a bit easier.
Yeah.
But you actually don't need so much. I think at a total cap of everything we invested in was around 1,500 euros, 2,000 euros?
Yeah, 1,000 euros, yeah.
1,000 euros,
Yeah.
not 1,500.
No, 1,000 euros.
You sure? With the
10,000 krona.
Okay.
I checked it.
But maximum 1,500 for sure. And
If you buy secondhand and if you don't buy so much stuff, and also keep in mind that a lot of people want to celebrate this journey with you and gift you stuff. And you can make lists for all different price ranges from 10 euros to 100 euros to, yeah.
And I think that's actually quite important to talk a little bit about, because I do think there is a lot of parents out there that use almost 10,000 euros for birth preparation. I mean, people do all sorts of crazy things, and I'm sure there are people who spend 20 and 30,000 euros. Well, they buy all the newest gear. They probably change a whole room in their house, like refurbish it and redecorate.
Easy.
And I get it that people are excited, but I do think it puts a lot of unhealthy pressure on society that getting a child is such a huge investment, because it really isn't if you strap away all the consuming things. And I believe the only thing that the child is really going to remember is how much you loved and cared about them. You know, like
that you fed them and played with them.
I have no recall of how my children's room looked like when I was 1 and 2 years.
You don't remember anything until you're 4. But for example, in terms of the pricing you mentioned, I bought us a stroller for 300 euros and knew it was 1,500.
Yeah, so that was more than your whole budget in total. And most people buy new everything, new everything. And then stroller for 1,500 is probably even a kind of cheap stroller. You can get way more expensive strollers.
Yeah. So if you don't have children yet, let us give you the super basics of what you need.
So let me start with the things that I can recall, and then you can fill up with everything because you are the pro here. So must-haves is definitely a stroller.
Yeah.
And preferably, I think also you did a good choice in getting 2 types of strollers, because a lot of strollers you can get for free on the secondhand market. And the type of stroller we invested in is a very small carry-on foldable stroller, one of the smallest one on the market, because we actually don't end up using it so much. We use it when we're like out traveling, needing to roll around.
Yeah.
And then we got another stroller for free that is quite one that just stands around in a place where we layer down often.
Yeah.
So that was really good. For me also, like a carry-on was really essential, like
Baby carrier?
a baby carrier.
Yeah.
To be, because we
Fabric one.
most of the time we just carry her all the time. Like that's the main method we use for transportation, and also making her fall asleep.
Yeah.
So stroller, baby carrier.
And I feel like both of those things also reflect the fact that we travel a lot, because the stroller you can have inside the plane for free, and it's super convenient.
It really is small. It's like a little bit bigger than this pillow folded.
Like a normal couch pillow, yeah. And like for example, if you want to take her into the cab, we also bought adapters to take the car seat on it. So now that we travel, we just
We don't even have the stroller top. We just have the car seat and the stroller
like
foundation or kind of
yeah. So taking it in the cab is super easy. Taking the bus, whatever, yeah.
And we have friends who have strollers. They can't even fit in a normal trunk.
Yes. For example, if I go with some of my friends to trolley meetups or stroller meetups, we need 2 cars.
Yeah. Well, that's baby carrier and stroller. Those are really, really basics. And we got a really beautiful extendable baby bed for our home in Norway. We're obviously packed it down now and not using it anymore. So maybe we'll use it again in the future, or we'll sell it. But we used it a lot the first couple of months in Norway.
I think we'll use it. It's a really nice one. It's a Stokke Snusi, and it has parts where you can like inserts you can put in the middle to make it bigger, bigger, bigger. So it's from 0 to 12 years old.
Yeah, we are kind of fan of Stokke products because Stokke comes from our hometown.
Yeah.
And become one of the global baby brands, and we also work for them. So
yeah,
we
produce content for them on their live streams and stuff.
So
yeah. What else?
Well, let's go into those 3. I feel were really the baby essentials. Then
also the expensive ones, the ones you kind of want to do a bit of research in, and yeah.
Then a couple of other small things. We got so lucky, and another Stokke product we got gifted by Stokke themselves as a little thanks for the work we've done together. The trip trap.
Yeah.
I mean, the trip trap chair. I'm a traditional guy, and I would say I love products that can last a long time. And I mean, the trip trap is from very early ages, like a couple of months of age with the baby plug-in thing, till whatever, like 10. You can use it till you're 6-7 years, till you can sit on a normal chair.
Yeah, and they last forever on the secondhand market. They're 70 years old, like they never break.
Trip trap chairs is definitely, I mean, it is quite expensive even still on the secondhand market, but it's definitely worth the price because you can sell it again for more or less the same price for sure.
Yeah.
So those are 4 things. Then obviously baby clothes. We almost managed to not buy a single piece of baby clothes new. We got a couple of gifts around of people where we had some arguments. Like I was sometimes really unhappy that people just like pushed on new stuff on us.
Yeah.
Because you had bought, and this is a really cool thing, on the secondhand market, people just sell complete boxes of clothes, like in age groups.
Yeah.
And what did you pay? Like 30 euros, 40 euros?
20
euros for a whole box, and you picked out like 30
boxes.
You picked out like 30%.
Yeah, and I even took out like what I thought was the best clothes and what she would really need, and Gary was complaining that it was too much clothes.
But it's kind of too. I mean,
But it's nice to have variety.
okay. Let's agree to disagree since you put this on me in this episode 0. But I want to put out a daddy statement there. Like I would say she was really, really resourceful. And I mean, I'm not talking about the money. Money is not the issue. You got them basically for free because you sold the box again later on. But you picked up maybe 50 pieces, something like that. 50 pieces.
Yeah.
Pants and bodies and stuff. I do think we're going to end up using like 10 of them, you know? So, I mean, yes, it's nice to have a selection, but in the first months, like that kid, I'm pretty sure she's just going to be around in one. We're going to pick the most effective and easiest to pull on and off.
Yeah, but even the first month now, it's so cold in Norway. We have used a lot of the clothes. And they poo everywhere and like puke everywhere.
Let's agree to disagree. Me as a daddy, I would say you need around like 10 to 20 pieces of clothes. Every mother will probably try to tell you 100.
No. I'd say if you like gonna buy it, you definitely don't need more than 5 outfits. And yeah, that's it.
But on the second-hand market, like really, you can get clothes so easy, and they don't last you for long anyway. So,
and then the last things, or do you have more?
No, I think that's the 5 things that I can recall.
And then you just need some basic ointments, some diapers, ointments, for example, for the breast or the baby.
And you got a second-hand breast pump.
Yeah.
And bottles. Yeah. Bottles is really nice to have early. I think a lot of people say, don't start with the bottles too early. They're gonna like reject the breast. Yeah. I think we should do like as fast as possible, as much as bottle as possible.
Yeah, but every baby is different, you know? But for me, it was very important that Georg could be able to spend time with Sakira alone. And that meant she had to take a bottle and I had to pump. And I am in love with that pump called LV. It's quite pricey. It's one of the most pricey pumps out there, but it's portable. I take it everywhere. All my friends are in awe. It's a really nice pump.
Wait, this.
Yeah, for the ones of you who are joining with the video, Georg is going to show it off.
I'm just picking up the breast pump here and sharing it on video. Yeah, guys, you join me on video later in another episode. But yeah, you can see like I didn't know much about breast pumps, and I think before you showed me this piece, I was like, as most men, probably picturing these old school breast pumps, you know, where you have like this thing where you sit with the hand and pump, and then there is like a snooze to your breast.
Yeah, but they still use it. They use it at hospital.
It is crazy that they still use it. Like, we are in the 21st century. You have better things to do to sit and pump for hours.
But unfortunately, the portable ones I'm the exception. People actually use the ones with the cable to the boat pumps, which like makes you feel like a cow. Sorry, guys. For the ones that can't afford this one, just get it secondhand.
It's really cool. USB charging has like a couple of hours, and yeah.
But yes, that's basically what we needed.
Anything we're forgetting about? Nah.
The most important ones, you know.
Yeah. Let's jump into birth. I mean, you considered for quite a while to do like water birth.
Yeah.
You were never really on the free birth path, even if I would probably found
you
it
mean like home birth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would find it a bit cool. We never even discussed it because I was early seeing that that's off topic.
Sorry, I don't.
No, it's okay. You don't have to be sorry. But I still want to put it out there that I think it's quite cool. I think it's cool. I think it's worth the experience. But I understand if people don't want to do it.
I remember you said something else in the beginning. You were like, "It's so messy, so much blood. Don't do it. Go to the hospital. They clean up." Does that ring a bell?
It does ring a bell. It does ring a bell. Yeah. Well, maybe I'm very split.
But also, I don't know. I really trust the Norwegian health system. I just wanted to be pampered, to be honest.
I don't get though all the arguments from people who support the free birth community that it destroys the birth experience. I really think birth at the hospital was beautiful. It was really nice, and it was such a well-guided experience and such a safe environment. It was so nice.
But people have different like different people, different experience, different expectations, but our expectations were very low. We hadn't done any research on what the room looked like, blah, blah, blah. The only thing I had really thought about the last weeks before the birth was whether or not to have an epidural. But then I landed on, I'm just going to get it because, yes, it's female empowerment to do it. And of course, the body can do it. But why? Why? I hate pain. Why not take use the newest medicine available so they don't have to feel pain? And I loved it. I loved it. The moment they put the epidural in and it's like, turn it on, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember you had one other expectation though. And that was pretty nice. We had like these pre-birth talks with the health system in Norway. It's like mandatory, probably in many other countries too. But for those countries who don't have that, like, it was really nice to take some time to sit down and talk through the birth and what's important for the woman. I think it's important to remember that really it's just a woman that goes through any labor at all, like both in the context of that it's called labor, but also that there is a lot of work, and that she is the one who can be setting expectations, like how do I want it to be, what role do I want you as a man or a partner to take. So
it's a really nice step for those of you that don't have this healthcare system or have this as a part of the healthcare system. Like, sit down and talk about the expectations.
Yeah,
And
and you were pretty clear on that you want me fully there. You don't want much, but you don't want me to be on the phone or doing some work or being some, like, in some other kind of thing. So I was already the weeks before, which I guess is like a normal thing for someone who is in a normal work position, but someone who is like a digital nomad, it's not such a normal thing. I was just the date around the birth, I was just cleaning away everything, so there was no meetings set up or nothing. It was just like work that maybe can be done, but it can also be waited with.
Yeah.
And then so I remember the days. Is it okay if I start to go into the days?
Just do it.
So the days before the birth, I mean, when you were feeling that it's getting closer,
Yeah.
and I think you should share a bit later on how do you feel that it's getting closer.
Yeah.
But those days when you were like telling like, I think it's gonna happen now soon.
Yeah.
Then I stopped going to the office. We were just home. I remember we also had a friend over who stayed quite a bit with us, and we didn't do anything different. It's not like we sat glued to the sofa and just waited. But we naturally like just paced down on everything. You did a really good choice of pre-packing everything. Like, I think you meant 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
What did you pack?
A month before, just in case something happens. Just the stuff you want to have in the hospital, for example, spare clothes, slippers, the breast pump, clothes for taking the baby home, and all the things that like make you comfortable. For example, I had my chisels, which is a Swedish snack, and some chocolates, and yeah, I even packed his stuff, some clothes for you, and what you would need to sleep over there.
And you brought the Nintendo.
Nintendo Switch. I didn't really get to use it though.
I think you were very tired.
Yeah, I was sleeping a lot.
But yeah, so you packed, that bag was finished in a corner in our apartment, so that was really nice. And then the days before birth, we just really paced down, I remember it just went really slowly. We were really excited, but time went really slow. We just...
You really feel that? I don't feel that at all. We went on hikes. With Sondre and Sinja, and then Hannah came when we went on more hikes.
That's like weeks before. I'm talking about like...
No, that was 1 week before. And then Hannah came the last days before.
Yeah, you were actually hiking in the mountains like 1 week before birth.
Yeah, 6 days. I was like so big.
But then
But I felt great.
Our friend Martin was with us. We were watching movies, and then one of the nights you were like, I think it's happening now.
Yeah,
And
the contraction started.
The contractions started, and you were counting them with this app. There are these apps where you can like log the contractions because there is like a certain time interval. When it passes that, then you should go to the hospital. And then we actually went to the hospital one time because we thought it was there, but then it was like false alarm.
Yeah.
And they sent us home again.
Yeah.
And after that, it was still 2 days.
You posted it on social media. Oh, it's happening. A lot of people texted me that during those 24 hours. Like, did you already give birth? How are you? How is Sylvia? And you were like, oh my God, so many people are asking me, can you just pre-make a video where you say that you're okay? But yeah, it was a false alarm. They sent us back home. And then I think, was it 12 hours, 24 hours after that? They were like, welcome back.
Yeah, about 20. It was like the evening after.
Yeah, true.
And that was really nice. You know, it was. I'm really glad that you have an early morning birth.
Yeah.
Because it was really nice coming into the hospital. I mean, it's nothing you can choose, but I suppose the experience is so different if you come there in the morning and day and everyone is around and things are happening. We came in at the hospital at like 10:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And pretty much everyone had gone home besides the people working on the birth.
It was a really calm atmosphere.
Yeah. And you got a good time laying in one room first, and then they made our birth.
Combination room. And then they prepared the birth room.
Yeah, they prepared the birth room. And then we were there. But share a bit about contractions and the feeling. How do you feel that birth is coming? I think a lot of mothers-to-be want to hear it from a recent mother, you know, as detailed as possible, because I cannot imagine.
So
do you remember it?
I remember it, yeah, because now that I've had the baby, and when the expulsion of breast milk starts, it's like kind of the muscles contract, and it kind of reminds you of the contractions of labor. So I'm constantly remembering.
But explain them for someone who hasn't experienced anything.
So what I remember, a lot of people explain it differently, but what I remember, one lady told me it feels like a wave coming, and I was like, what is she meaning? But when it happens, you understand, because it starts like a small murmur. It's not painful. It's kind of like
when you have murmur.
Kind of like when you have a headache and it's just painful, you know? Just pain. It's not like any change, just like,
in the head.
Yes, but you have it in your uterus, in the stomach. So it's like, and then it's like there, and then it increases like a wave in intensity, and it goes like, but like, and then it's like the peak is just like.
For those not seeing this on video, Silva is making a lot of grimaces and shaking her heads and trying to like, looks like a Native American doing a ritual.
You can't breathe. You can't breathe when it's on its max, and then it's like there, and you know it's gonna let go again. So you're just like holding on to dear life, just holding your breath, trying to not scream. And then when it passes, it really gradually, as a wave again, disappears.
But can you like compare it to any other type of physical pain that you can demonstrate on yourself? It's like someone pushing you on your stomach, or someone like putting needles in your
no, because the
pips, or
all pushing, needles, everything is just instant pain, you know? You can't explain.
Yeah, but the type of pain. I understand that it's not instant, that it's gradually increasing, but the type of pain.
So the type of pain is very spread out. It can't be compared to stabbing or like local pain in one place. It's just like all your stomach, the lower stomach is in pain.
Like kind you would have eaten something really bad?
Kind of like when you have diarrhea or like need to poo.
The feeling of when you have waited too long for pooing.
Yeah. But
that
like,
kind of was much more intense.
Yeah, just more intense, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Just really painful.
Yeah, I didn't like that feeling.
And then, you know, but it's like more than that, you know, and then it comes again. After some minutes, you're there again.
But so, when did you feel that like, oh, I'm going into birth, I'm going into labor, like some days before you had those the very first time and you were feeling like, oh, this is like something I never felt before?
Yeah. It happened 48 hours before. As soon as I thought I was in the fake labor, that's when I started counting them, because I thought, oh, it's happening. I'm going to count them. But then obviously it wasn't.
But a lot of people, I mean, all the movies and always it's like, oh, the water is gone, you know.
The water doesn't
because
have to break. My water didn't break. It broke at the hospital.
but with some people, it just suddenly comes water and then the labor starts.
Yeah.
Okay.
It kind of kickstarts the process.
Okay. Cool.
That's also why very often they take the water of women who are on their due date to like start the process.
Well, then you guys know a bit more about being in labor and how it feels like. Well, the birth in itself, without going into like a fairy tale of 3 hours, let's do the physical part first and then the emotional part. The physical was really straightforward. We stayed a couple of hours. You waited for your epidural. I was there supporting you, holding your hand. We were talking. It was pretty normal. We talked with the hospital what was it? The name, the hospital sister? What's it called? English. I think you should try speaking a bit louder.
Yeah, but I don't remember what it's called.
Anyway, the sister, or the employee from the hospital that is with you all the time, we were in the same room all the time. We're speaking a lot, and then by like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., after a couple of hours, she was telling you that Sakira's head is now moving out, so the actual birth will soon start.
Yeah.
And she kind of kept you updated on how far is your...
Check how many centimeters open you are. And when you're 10 centimeters, you're in active labor. And then also the head should come down into the pelvic floor and like be kind of ready to like enter through. But let's jump a little bit back, because I really want to share the story of the epidural, because it's just like such an amazing feeling. I feel like I sound like an advocate, like, don't do it natural. But I was in so much pain when the contractions were regular. And then as soon as the epidural hits, I slept. I hadn't slept for 48 hours at that point, because the fake bird had been the whole day previous, and then we were at the hospital. And I remember as soon as they turned the machine on, I slept 4 or 5 hours.
So the pre-birth continued just the same?
Yeah.
But you fell asleep?
Yeah. And the body keeps on contracting and pushing the baby down. But all the pain just disappeared, and I slept a long time. And then I remember the lady kind of woke me up and we're like, can I do an examination just to see how far the baby is along? And I was like, sure. And she checked, and then she said that, okay, now we should start to stand up a bit.
And it was pretty shocking for me as well, because the hours from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock a.m. was pretty intense. You were a lot there breathing and intense, and not like super intense, but just like how I'd expect to be.
Yeah.
But then you got your epidural, you fell asleep, and I also just fell asleep, a bit off the watch.
Yeah.
And then I just was woken up by the caretaker or the sister there. Is just like, you already standing out of the bed, and the birth is gonna start now soon, so wake up.
That's what I remember. She woke you up. He was in a stress class, and you were like, "Whoa, I need a coffee. Don't push it. I need to get the coffee."
Honestly, I thought that I missed the birth. The feeling of when you overslept your alarm or your flight or something. I was waking up with pure shock, sure that I've overslept the birth. But then I woke up, grab a coffee, grab something for you as well to eat quickly, and then it started.
But a lot had happened in between. She had gotten me some food. I'd been walked to the toilet. My water had broke. I'd been like pushing and standing, and then she was like, "Okay, now we're at 10. Georg, you should wake up."
But yeah, so then through birth it happened quite quickly. It was like 45 minutes. While she started to really get pushing.
The pushing was 14 minutes.
Yeah, but from the really like, let's go.
Yeah.
And then 14 minutes pushing, and then she was out. It was really quick. I still remember the shock, and I have it on camera as well. It's quite an exciting moment where I'm just like looking, helping you push. You know, I'm down there,
Yeah.
and you just continue pushing, and I'm just suddenly like, she's out, and you're like, what? Yeah, I'm like, she's out, you made it, and you're like, it seemed like it took like a couple of seconds before you realized that you didn't feel it yourself. You were just like, huh?
Yeah. And I think part of that was that I didn't have the urge to push. The lady was just like, okay, you should start pushing now. And I was like, what? I thought it would like my body would push her out. And she was like, no, can you push? And I was like, yes, I feel my muscles. I can push. And I pushed her.
Yeah. So that was really quick. And then the hours after, I remember it was almost like it felt a bit like a press conference in a way, that like something stressful happened and you just need to gather for a press conference, because they obviously, more people came in, check the baby, check the health, put on a wristband, chop the
umbilical cord.
Okay, the thing that goes between the mommy and the kid. I got to chop it, then she got on the weight to take some weight. And everything, and then they started to clean up and shift the bedding and everything.
They have to say that first, actually, they kind of like super fast clean the baby, and then they put her on my chest.
Yeah, it was not a negative contents, but it happened so around you, and you weren't really center part. They just like gave you the baby, be on your chest, and then they did all what they had to do, and then they were out of the room in a couple of minutes, and then we just both fell asleep.
And then she went on your chest. And you got
I had it on her chest, and then she slept on my chest, and you got to sleep like peacefully.
Yeah, at least like 3 hours, and then they came and put us in a proper room where we could be alone.
That was really nice. I remember. I don't know if that's the norm, but I mean, you had her a bit, like a couple of minutes, and we had her together. But then she was with me like 3-4 hours, and I think that really.
I don't think it's normal.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a norm, but it really created a strong bond.
Yeah.
As well, you know, I think for a lot of fathers, it can be hard to bond very tight with their child in the beginning, because the mother is such an essential piece for surviving.
I already know her for 9 months, you know. You are just for the first time like touching, feeling her.
We had our own room, or no, a shared room in the hospital. I didn't have the opportunity to be allowed to sleep there.
Yeah.
So you stayed in the hospital for 3 days. I don't know if it's too much to share. I mean, those days are really basic. I mean, you mostly just lay around and breastfeed.
Sleep a lot because your body's recovering. You're really tired.
The baby is tired.
Yeah. The baby doesn't move a lot, basically. It's a really nice time because you get to, in your own pace, learn everything. There's so many women around there working who are really wanting to help. So if you're, for example, unsure on how to breastfeed, how to change the diaper, how to do anything, they will do everything. And they will get you food. They will give you painkillers if you need that, help you to the toilet, everything.
Yeah. It's really like, it's a place for a partner. It is. But also it's like a place where it's nice to have a bit peace from your partner. I feel like we had a good balance there. There was a lot of other couples where the partner was there like all the time, just sitting on his side.
A chair, because the hospital was full, so you didn't have the opportunity to sleep over there. And you came every day.
I came every day, stayed some hours. It was really nice, you know, also for me to spend time with Sakira and give you some off time. But I don't know. I think we found like a perfect balance. I wouldn't change it and be there. It's not something that I regret, and I don't think you regretted that I wasn't there like all the time, because it's nice to have some peace and figure out things alone.
And I just slept a lot. I was really exhausted. And it was really nice.
So maybe it's a little tip. Maybe it's a tip of not like getting overexcited for the first days. Just think about it more like, okay, I'm going to be there through the birth as a partner, and then I'm going to give some time off, you know? I mean, it's nice to be available, but I don't think you should feel like burdened by that you have to be there all the time. So there's not so much happening.
Yeah, but still nice. I mean, I wouldn't like under stress that. it's nice to like finally meet your baby, and it's a vulnerable time. It's nice for the mothers to also do it in, or for me at least, to do it in my own pace. Because when we got home, that's when the family dynamic started to like puzzle into pieces.
Yeah, and we want to wrap this first episode with like coming home and our first. I mean, really just talking about the first days at home, the first month there. Uh, It's not a lot of change going on. I mean, it was really funny. We took the bus home. There's actually mandatory to drive home and have a babysit, but we took the bus home. So that was I found that really hilarious and
She
fun.
was in the baby seat. But yeah, it's not allowed. So let's not go into the maybe rather let's go into the 4 topics that we discuss every
You go
time.
on. You start on the 4 topics.
Let's start with sleep. Newborns, until the first month, they sleep a lot. They sleep, baby. She slept 20 hours. Like, obviously, she didn't sleep through the night. I would still breastfeed her every 2 hours, but we had her in the same bedroom, in her own bed. And I would take her out every 2 hours, feed her, and put her back. But she's also slept during most of the day on my lap or on me or on you. And the wake windows were 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
I think it's very different from baby to baby, but we were very lucky with Sakira that she felt felt easy asleep. And slept well and often and a lot, and going into physical development, I think that really helped. Like she shot in size. The first month, the second month, she like almost doubled.
She was a tiny baby. She was born 2.8 kilos. And normally babies lose a bit of weight when they come out because they lose a lot of water. But she was so like racing when she came out, and then became a grape during the first month.
And the other thing that happens during the first month is really just like first couple of days opening the eyes properly, starting to look, but they don't really recognize anything. And I remember one of the first biggest details first month was that she really started to get hooked on colors, like light colors. She didn't really recognize us yet and didn't like smile to us or anything, but she really recognized light. And we have this Philips Hue light in our bathroom that we have a lot of different colors, and she just loved she's almost like she was addicted not really addicted, but she loved getting her diapers changed.
Yes.
It meant like going into that room and being able to watch the...
Like many times when she was crying, we would just take her to the bathroom and turn on the light, and she would be quiet and happy. And they move really slow. They can't really hold anything or do anything.
It's almost a bit like alien. Like I remember some of the movements. It's like if you imagine like an alien just coming out of its shell, like doing its first stretches in a kind of alien way, like weird and slow, and like also the face, like almost like this is a grown-up alien coming out, but that has never moved his mouth.
Yeah,
and now it's like stretching the muscles for the first time. And does a lot of the babies do a lot of those weird movements, which I think they aren't documented so well because they don't look beautiful. I found them very entertaining, but they look weird.
And also when you look straight towards the sun and you're like, it's too bright, that's kind of how the baby looks constantly.
Yeah. No, and I found it funny though. She made a lot of weird expressions, and we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, they don't smile though. They don't smile this early. And I was kind of surprised that they don't do any they do all the expressions, but they don't know that they're doing it. They're just practicing because it's an instinct. But crying, they do a lot.
But not. I mean, for us, I'd say we were really blessed. It wasn't so much crying. We like pretty much immediately established a kind of sleeping routine, even though you were obviously a lot of awake. And we're gonna share more about sleeping and routines and tips in the next episode. But I remember one thing that was a challenge is that I had these expectations of helping you more at nighttime, feeding, and because I felt like that's where I can help out, but just completely, didn't work out. There's no way that it's a lot to do with me. I sleep really well, and
I'm gonna say that you sleep through everything, and the problem is that if you wanted to help, she would be on the stage of crying and have given all this cue prior, which you wouldn't have heard because you only hear the cry.
yeah. So that didn't really work out. But I think it was for the better because you're so effective breastfeeding that you like just pull her in and out of bed or just keep her in bed, and doesn't affect your sleep so much. It affects it, obviously. You need more hours in general because you lose sleep at night.
Yeah. But I feel like the first weeks were a bit stressful in terms of that we fought because you really wanted to help. Like really, really wanted to do the night shift or just like one of the shifts, to call it that. And
I couldn't.
yeah, and I was pushing towards like, can you just let it go? I don't want you to help. But you really, really wanted to help, and then you kind of like felt bad in the mornings.
And I think for what it's worth is we should mention that maybe if you have such ideas as a father, maybe you're different than me and maybe you manage it. But maybe just, I think in hindsight, or for a second child, if that would be a case, I would remind myself to that rather try to be as much as possible help to the mother instead of like trying to take mother off duty by being the mother, because there's just like the physical limitations that you can't give the same. You can't in that early stage of life, you can't provide essence like food, but also not the same kind of essence in terms of closeness. And I mean, you can try, but the baby's not gonna feel it the same way.
Yeah.
So a hug or hold by the mother maybe makes the baby way easier calm than getting hold by the father.
That's really nice said. I think a lot of people is gonna find that helpful.
No one told me that you're not gonna be able to provide what you were trying to provide there.
Yeah. And I don't think that makes you a bad father or like that you're lacking in it in a way. It's just like biologically, the child will like smell that this is mom, this is safety, this is milk.
Yeah, it's all about the milk.
It's all about the milk.
It is really.
But a lot of people can't breastfeed. It's like a super trend,
Yeah, I know. So I think that's it for the first episode. For the next episode, really want to highlight a cool thing that we're going to speak about, and that's establishing feeding feeding habits, and how establishing really well feeding habits and good relationship to the breast of the mother helps in all the months in the forward, because you can go from having the most beautiful first months and first year with your baby with very little crying and everything under control to complete disaster where it's just constant crying, constant negative vibes, which again affects the relationship of constant fighting, and again like affects both people's or all people's life of just negativity. So breastfeeding and finding those routines and always prioritizing it is actually, I would say, as much as the single key to having a good first year with your kid.
Another thing I just want to shoot out there before we end this episode is that we were really not protective in terms of letting people meet Sakira. And I'm really happy that we weren't, because I feel, especially in Norway, we're raising this new wave of porcelain children, we call them, because they can't be touched by anyone who hasn't washed their hand, or what if they get COVID, or like don't let them play on the floor and stuff like that. But we've been really laissez-faire and like chill with it.
Absolutely, yeah. And let's share more about that in the next episode, because we're really like put Sakira everywhere and let everyone hold us. Just
become very used to new people and not afraid of strangers.
And you can tell that definitely in a very young age with Sakira as well, that she doesn't need us to be confident.
Yeah, she can. Yeah,
it's like she can be confident in many situations, and I see many kids that are way older than her that are less confident.
Yeah. So let them be loved by everyone.
Yeah. Let's with that, let's close off this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it keeps on raising good questions in your relationships and helping you to find those discussions and topics that you want to raise with your partner, because that's really everything we want to do. Help other people get on this road and open
and
open up.
we're publishing this podcast on YouTube. So if you have questions, please leave it in the comments there. That's where it's the easiest for us to answer them, or
pick up questions. And I think once we're done with these couple of first months, we'll definitely take some time to just do some bigger Q&A videos, answering questions. So
maybe more into depth into specific topics and stuff like that.
Yeah, reach out, guys. That's always really nice. It's nice to hear from other people and hear other experiences. And with that, thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure, and we see you in the next episode.
See you in month 2. Bye. Bye.